mute your microphone so we can get started here. All right, go ahead and raise your hand if you got a question. We will start with Chase Hughes today.
Hey, Scott.
Chase.
I understand last week was the deadline for teams to choose whether to go into the G League bubble in Atlanta. What was your guys' decision on that? Because I don't think it's out there yet.
Yeah, I talked to Tommy today, and he was in the middle of that conversation, and he will tell me later on today. But I had to run, and he had to run as well. But I'm hoping that we do go. That would be a great opportunity for some of our younger guys, and I'm definitely going to miss having here in our in market. But there's a good chance that we will be there. But I will find out later on today. I guess I'll let you know tomorrow.
If there is a good chance that you guys would go and you end up going, what does that make for you in terms of the process? I guess the next month you have to decide which players to send, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have some options. We definitely have a couple of our two-way guys and some of the other guys that are trying to make it. And probably, if they don't make it, they probably will have a chance to go. And then maybe there's a guy or two that hasn't played that needs some reps. But at this point, I don't know the decision if we're going or not, or I don't even know what is it going to be like. Can you go there for a couple of weeks, and then if we need you, can you come back? I mean, those are all things I'm sure Tommy knows or they're still working out.
Quentin?
How you doing, Scott?
Good.
I was just going to ask first on an update of Davis Bertans as well as Robin Lopez, two guys that I know had separate incidents. Has Davis or Robin joined the team for practice?
Not yet. They're still going through the protocols, and hopefully soon. But they are in market, which is nice, and it's just going to take, I don't know how many days, but there's the process they have to go through, and then there's a process of coming on the court in group workouts. And then there's also the process of us getting our hands and eyes on them and see where they are, their baseline, because we still have some time to ramp up and get ready for the first game. So hopefully all that is a matter of days, but like I said, it's still in the process of going through all the protocols.
And also, I want to say maybe a couple weeks ago we talked to you about that three position, or maybe that was last week. Time is flying. But specifically for Isak Bonga, a guy who started last year and played a lot of reps and got a lot of opportunities there, have you seen him develop that three-point shot enough to justify you calling him a possible 3-and-D guy on this team?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're working at, and he's just turned 21, so there's a lot of development in his future, but I like what he's able to do right now. Still, he played some good minutes, started some games for us last year. Don't know who will be the starting three at the moment. There's a bunch of guys that will be fighting for that. But it all remains to be seen once we get, we haven't really, today was one of our first days that we've had some really 5-on-5 scrimmaging. We just stayed at the half court. But I think our guys are ready for that. So it's going to be more of that in the next couple of days, going into our first exhibition game in Brooklyn. But he's definitely a guy that the trajectory is becoming a 3-and-D guy. But he has the ability. It's just he's going to have to continue to get stronger and continue to make, work on his shot with all the reps that he's put in. But I like what he's about. He's definitely a big part of what we need to do going forward.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm guessing this is Neil with Hoop District.
Hey, Coach. I'm curious. Obviously, Brad has, been able to play on the ball a lot more recently. How do you see and where do you see Russ being able to contribute when he's not on the ball?
Russell's a playmaker. He gets guys. He knows once he gets familiar with our group, he'll know their tendencies. and he gets familiar with really what we do. He'll know some of the tricks that we like to run, and he's as good and as crafty as anybody in the league at that spot. It's gonna obviously take some time to really get comfortable with one another, but I don't anticipate taking too much time. They're about the same things, and there's so many similarities on how they approach the game, and they understand all the little tricks of the game. They've both been in the league for a long time, over 20 years combined. But the big thing about them that I love, they're both winners, and winning basketball players understand that they need each other, and they also understand that we need the other three guys on the floor to help us have success.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Ava?
Hey, Scott. Wondering, with the group you have on the floor, you spoke a lot about how you guys aren't trying to get better on defense this season just by adding people, but you think there's a lot of things you can work on within the group. Have you been able to work on some of those things yet in camp, and what's that process been like so far?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely areas of improvement of some of the personnel that we brought in, and then some of the experience that our players will have gained in the first year. And then some of the things that we as a staff will change up or implement or find different ways to improve. We're just basically putting in the basic foundations. We're waiting for everybody to be here before we can put some of the other things that we do. I thought we were one of the in the bubble, I thought we were pretty good with zone. So it's definitely, we have some of the makings of a good zone team. So we're definitely going to be putting that in as soon as we get the entire group together, because we don't want to put it in two parts. But I see good improvement. I see some of our younger players last year came back. You can just see the experience, their confidence level that they've had. They're still young. We all want them to be 26, 27 years old, be starting in their prime, but I think they've came back better players.
And then you mentioned that you guys did 5-on-5 for the first time today. What were some of your overarching takeaways from that?
Kind of like what I thought it would be. The physicality. The fouling was there. It was a little sloppy at times, but that's expected because I want our guys to be aggressive on both ends. So, but I think the next couple of days we will have more of it leading up to that first game. So it's going to be a great opportunity. I thought today was a perfect day to get in some 5-on-5, but the other guys handled it well, a little sloppy at times, but I think it was all due because we're not calling a lot of the fouls that you would normally call, and I thought it was pretty good.
Chris Miller?
What's up, Scotty? How are you?
Hey, Chris, what's happening?
Nothing. I wanted to ask you about self-scouting the coaching staff and yourself. When you look back from a defensive standpoint, what are some of the things that were the correctables that you can apply this year? And then with a guy like Russ and kind of knowing, the head of the snake on the defensive end, does that kind of change your philosophy going into this season?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's one of the biggest, most physical, dynamic point guards in the league or league history. What he brings, you have added size. We have added size at that position now, so that's gonna be we're gonna use that to our advantage. And I think the experience that our guys have had, we've always, and I challenge all of our coaches to always be critical of us first before we become critical on how our players are playing. And there's some things that we can change, but there's some things that they have to learn and go through. The learning curve, sometimes it's a slow process for some, faster for others. But I think adding the players, the pieces that we have, along with Brad, I think Brad is going to be better defensively as well. But I want our backcourt to be special on both ends of the floor because they lead the group. And I think if that happens, I think our entire group's going to get better as this season comes along.
I've heard you a couple of times talk about how surprised you were last year, how well offensively you guys performed. Was it from an efficiency standpoint, or was it the way that you guys kind of shared the ball that allowed everybody to eat?
Yeah, when you have a new group that has not played a lot of NBA minutes coming together, I mean, my fear was we wouldn't be able to, get in the 80s, let alone, we were getting into 130s and 40s with all of our ball moving in. I thought we would turn the ball over a lot. We took care of the ball. We were a great passing team, high assists, high passes each possession. I'd like to continue that. Now we have, one of the best passing point guards, and his speed and his ability to break down the defense at the speed that he does and to find the shooters that we can give him on the floor. I mean, Bertans, Brad, TB, Rui's a much improved shooter. So he can have potentially in any given time, he can have 4 knockdown 3-point shooters on the floor.
Thanks, Scotty.
Thank you.
Fred?
Hey, Scotty. You had previously mentioned that the starting spot at the 3 is basically an open competition. You named a few guys. Are you just looking for whichever of those people that are in that group, whichever one stands out the most, or are you looking for a specific type of skill set fit that would complement the other 4 starters the best when you eventually determine that spot?
Well, we have a lot of different options, quite frankly. We have a lot of guys that bring something, a little different. So I think it's gonna come down to what's the best fit for the starting group, what's the best fit for the second unit. But I think we have some pretty good choices. We have, Troy, Bonga, Bertans, Denny, Jerome. So we have some pretty good choices. I haven't really thought about any other guys, but there's always other guys too that are trying to make the team. But I think we have some pretty good choices, and I'm excited to see how it all unfolds the next couple of weeks. It's gonna more than likely, it's gonna be fluid. It's probably not. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you guys know this as well, we're locked in at 1, 2, and probably 4 and 5. But I don't think we're going to always be locked in at that 3 spot. Maybe it's going to be how we're playing, how that player is playing, and what the second unit. We're just trying to find quality minutes at all 5 positions for 240 minutes of a game.
Thanks, Scott.
Troy?
Hey, Scott. My question for you today is regarding the COVID-19 protocols. How do you feel as the coach and the leader of the team about just the comfortability factor of, all of the COVID-19 protocols for the first week of the season, as opposed to, when you were down in the bubble, when, they had zero positive tests. So just overall, how do you feel about, do you feel safe, and do the players feel safe?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely feel safe, and we wouldn't be in this position. It's definitely, we talk about it constantly. We watch. There's going to be film sessions on things that we need to do. There's memos that the league is giving out. There's things that I talk about, things that I do, things that I even implement in practice. I try to keep, the social distancing and make sure everybody's wearing their mask, and the hygiene is so important. We want to do our part. We know it's not going to always be perfect, and if somebody does come up with a positive, it's not like we're going to look down on them and be disgusted in it. It's just part of it. It's a global problem that we're all trying to figure out. It's a serious problem that we're all trying to do what's right and what's best, but we're going to do our part. I mean, it's definitely going to be a season to adapt, and you have to adapt. You can't always. It's not going to be, even the travel. It's not going to be like it normally was in the past. And what we're doing is we're working day to day to become normal eventually. But we have to be able to do our parts with all that we know from what the government tells us, from what the NBA tells us, and our own personal performance team. They've done a good job of always keeping us informed.
I appreciate that, Scott.
Thank you.
We'll take just a couple more. Ava, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I did, if I could. Scott, I feel like I might know the answer to this, but with the shortened training camp, were there certain things that you guys might normally do to want to work on or prepare, anything that you said that has to kind of go by the wayside or take a back seat, or that'll work itself out? And I guess if so, what were the things that you said we absolutely have to use these couple of weeks that we have to get this stuff hammered out, other than the starting lineup maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about our guys, they came in pretty good shape. So the conditioning factor, which is critical, they're fine there. So we're just working on it. And then we got some wizard knowledge from the guys coming back, the guys that were in the bubble, and the new guys that we brought in. They're all high level thinkers, and they've been around the league and they can figure things out. And then our video staff has done a good job of putting our video clips together and sending out some blasts to all the guys, and they get to see it. It's amazing what we have now. It's just trying to help all these dinosaurs like myself figure out this, how we can keep relating to the younger players, and what we're done in that area is pretty cool. And what I learned today was really neat on some of the things that's available for all of the coaches and players. But there's going to be things that we won't be able to put in, but we're going to be able to do it as the season goes on. But we want to have our basic foundation, and that's going to be all remains to be seen what we can go from there.
Congrats on learning about the new technology.
I know, right? It's amazing. It's really cool.
Big deal.
It is. I'm excited about it.
All right, last question will go to Ben.
All you millennials out there think it's pretty funny, huh?
Hey, Coach, how's it going? Some of the players mentioned how energetic and mature Denny has looked throughout the process. Can you just give us some general takeaways of today and the growth that he's shown over the past couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good player. I mean, really good, solid, tough. Has a good presence. He banged up his knee a couple of days ago. So today he just went through a few things, but I think it's nothing serious. Tomorrow he'll be able to go through most, if not all. But yeah, I like his approach. I mention this all the time as you coach a group of players, that you really want to make sure that they understand the ins and outs of how to be a professional, being on time, taking care of your body, eating healthy, getting proper sleep, being a good teammate, making sure you're taking advantage of the coaching staff in the film room, early in the practice floor, late after practice. I can really say there's not one time I thought about, okay, I got to remind Denny to do this. He has it already. He's obviously well-versed with all of his coaching at a young age, and he's obviously raised the right way. He's come in and really blended in, and a lot of times you don't blend in as a rookie. You kind of sometimes you stick out for the wrong reasons. But not one time I've had to really pull him over to the side and make sure that he's well aware of what we need to do as a young player in this league. But I think he has a high IQ, and he has that desire to get better. You can just see it in his eyes when you talk to him. He has this determination, which I love about him.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, guys. Morning.
What's up, Mo? How are you?
What up? How y'all doing?
Good. All right, we get things started here with Chris Miller.
Appreciate it. What up, Mo?
What's going on, Chris?
I'm good, man. Just kind of give me your assessment of camp under these very unusual circumstances. How are you getting better?
I mean, for us, they're not really unusual. You go to the gym, go to work. It's honestly a lot of fun. This is a really cool group to be around with, and high level of energy, and everybody shows up to compete every day. So I'm super excited.
Did you have, or has it happened yet, where you look at Russell Westbrook on a fast break or a drill and think to yourself, Russell Westbrook plays on my team?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but honestly, I feel like that with a bunch of players. But like the NBA is so crazy. Like you have to adjust so quick that you can't really give yourself time to do that. It's my teammate now. You got to go with that, and you know what I'm saying, like take it as it is and be the best version of yourself. So it's cool and all, but I'm kind of trying to move on from that. Blessed to be here vibe and do my job.
Appreciate it, man.
No problem. Good to see you or hear you.
Chase.
Hey, what's up, Mo?
What's going on, Chase?
So I think it's pretty obvious the expectations for this team are going to be a little bit higher this year than they were last year. With Russell Westbrook instead of John Wall was coming back from the injury. What does that do for a young player like you where, maybe minutes won't be as guaranteed as they were last year as you try to find a consistent role in the rotation?
Doesn't mean it's not different. Like I'll show up to be the best version of myself every day. It don't matter what happens, and no minutes are guaranteed at any point. I think you saw that last year. Expectation, that's something y'all talk about. We don't really we show up to work, compete hard every day, and try to win as many games as we can. We don't really worry about that stuff too much. So, I'm not really worried about that, honestly.
Fred.
Hey Mo, how you been?
What's up, Fred? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just curious if you had a main focus on your game in the off season. If so, how did you work on it, or was it just a general, going through major workouts and that was
it? The big thing for me this off season was, even though the circumstances were so different, to kind of establish a consistency with whatever it was. And I went home for a long period of time and kind of tried to be consistent with my work at one place and not travel around as much, and focus a lot on my body, because I realized that you can work as hard as you want in the summer and get better every day. If you hurt all season, you're not going to play. So I got to experience that 2 years in a row. So I focused a lot on my body, try to get, be healthy for a whole season. That's kind of my goal. And, obviously I work on basketball too. Everybody, obviously there's certain things, but I work on this. I'm the player I am, of course. I work on my shot. I work on everything. Decision-making, probably something, especially when you're over there in Europe, the coaches, it's more reading the game rather than get up a million shots a day. It's a different mentality. So try to learn as much as I can when I was over there.
Was there any part of your body that was a specific focus? Was that a reaction to the ankle? So, weird was that a reaction to the ankle, I'll ask, or were you kind of banged up?
Well, I don't know if you know Fred, but the body works as a whole. So I try to stay healthy all over the place. No, of course the ankle injury, I understand, but no, everything. Honestly, just to be stable. I'm not the most athletic guy, so I gotta be strong. I gotta be solid with everything, and I work on everything. Let's just put it that way. Sorry for me.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate it.
Ava?
Mo, I have no questions about your body. I'm sorry. I'm wondering, but mentioned working on the consistency. How difficult can that be when I don't know if you're working out with a coach, a trainer, another guy, when you're at home, but just to kind of make yourself perform to the same level that you want to hit every day? Is that something that you've gotten better with experience in the league? Like how difficult is that? I mean, it's hard for anybody, I think.
Yeah, it's really hard. I'm not going to sit here and act like I figured it out. But for me, what made it hard too was that I've never really worked out in the offseason in Germany. And as a young player, you're still trying to figure out how you like do your offseason, you know? So I'm still trying to figure that out. But this year, my first challenge was to find the right guy, obviously, and be on the same page with what you want to achieve in the offseason on your body and all that stuff, as Fred just mentioned. And and then another thing was also like coach always talks about, you got to work really hard, but you also got to be smart. It doesn't matter. And you see that in the league, like the vets, they know how to work. Like they're not just going to go in the gym and tire themselves out for 8 hours a day. They know exactly when they take off and when they work and when they work hard and when they rest. And that's something you got to experience for yourself and figure out for yourself. And I think that helped me a great deal this summer too, to not get impatient in like the first 3 weeks of the summer thinking, oh, I got to do everything in 3 weeks now. Like understanding it's a long period and you work hard when you work, and when you rest, and take care of your body. So that's kind of what I've tried to differentiate.
And then obviously you guys added a couple bigs in Anthony Gill, who's here, and I know Robin hasn't arrived for practice yet, but what are you excited about, either that relationship developing or adding them into the mix, those two specifically?
I mean, in general, any new guy, I don't care if they're big or if they're wings or guards. Like, it's just cool that I'm here for another year, like get to know new people, get to build new relationships. And the time I've been here, I feel like they've done a great job of bringing guys in that are great guys, honestly. And that's fun to be around and to learn from them and be a good teammate. It makes it so much easier to be a good teammate. And I'm happy that I'm privileged enough to be in that position.
Cool. Thanks, Mo.
Max?
Hi, Mo. How are you? I was wondering what's your level of concern or confidence in terms of the season being played in a pandemic scenario without a bubble now, like with all the traveling and all the precautions being taken. What's your take on that?
It's a great question. I guess, I mean, it's a challenge, and I think it's super interesting because everybody's kind of on its own. You know, everybody got to take responsibility for themselves, watch themselves, what they do off the court, how they spend their times, how they spend their times around their families, and it's gonna be interesting, man. I hope. Like, I know there are going to be setbacks and people are going to think what's going on and they're going to be positive cases. That's just going to unfortunately, how it's going to knock on wood. But you just, like, somehow expect that when you look at football and everything that happens. It's just a matter of how you treat that, how you react to that, and also that you don't overreact and kind of try to live with it and control what you can control, you know. You just got to do your part. I imagine it being hard with a family. I'm by myself, so all I do is watch my TV show at night, so I don't really have anything else to do. But if you have a family that go to school and all that, I imagine that to be harder.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a couple more. Brianna?
Hey, Mo. I'm just wondering about kind of piggybacking off of the other questions about your routine. What are some of the things that you took from the bubble that now you're still applying to your routine now, even though it's not in a, confined environment anymore?
Honestly, I'm pretty happy the bubble's over. I'm going to be honest with you. I was impressed the way they did it. That I don't want to take anything away from that, but I will say just comparing it with the state now, it's just different. It's you can't get away from the game, and I think that's a big part of my development for me as a human being and as a player. So that was a big challenge for me. So I'm honestly like trying not to think about the bubble as much as if I can. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to enjoy the moment as much as I can, and the routines before games stay the same, but has nothing to do with the bubble. It's that was a different beast to me.
Neil?
Hey Mo, hope you're doing well. Obviously, you played against Cassius in college in that Michigan State rivalry. I'm curious, Cassius Winston. I'm curious, what was your guys' relationship back then, and have you guys had any fun about those times now that you guys are teammates again?
Like, it's funny, like, they think we can't get along because I don't know why, because of the Michigan State thing. We actually recruited Cassius my freshman year, and then he didn't come, and I remember we were like pissed about it and all that stuff. But honestly, like, that's like all cute and all that. Like, it's a real thing when you're in college. But now, man, I'm like, you ever seen him play? Like, that's so much fun to play with that guy, and obviously I'm excited to be on the team with him. He's a great guy. We talked about our games that we had against each other. I won't get tired talking about them, but because they were always in my favor, so I don't care talking about that. But no, I'm excited for Cassius to be here. He's a great point guard, great leader, plays with a lot of swag, and a good kid to be around. So I'm excited to be with him and the team.
Thanks, Mo.
All right, Mo, appreciate you.
Peace.
Sure.
Cool. All right, go ahead, Chris Miller.
Thank you. What up, Jerome?
What's going on?
Good. How much more comfortable are you now as opposed to when you got here back in February, what seems like 2 years ago?
I'm pretty comfortable. Just, comfortable with the guys, comfortable with the coaches, comfortable with our schemes and our coverages, our plays I'm familiar with. And, I think having the opportunity to bubble, allowed me to get more comfortable, with everything.
What was your biggest takeaway from the bubble about yourself and trying to apply it to this year, trying to get those rotational minutes?
Just to go out there and play, go have fun, and let the chips fall where they may.
Fred?
Hey Jerome, how you doing? I was just wondering, over the off season, did you have a particular focus that you worked on that you particularly wanted to improve on coming into the year?
Just to get better at basketball.
All right.
Chase?
Hey, Jerome. You're from Raleigh, and you played for Garner Road, AAU, I believe. What was your reaction to the John Wall trade? Because I would imagine part of you, I would imagine he meant a lot to you growing up in that area, and maybe you even look forward to playing with him.
Yeah. John he's been a catalyst for our city, just putting us on, across the world, so having the opportunity to be around him was great. But as I know, it's a business, and I wish nothing but the best. I want to see him be just the same John Wall as he was before. But it is what it is, and we'll be friendly when we're in Raleigh.
And you didn't get to actually play with him in a game, but maybe you played against him in practice. Obviously, I'm sure you interacted with him. Is there anything that you take away from actually being up close and personal with John?
Yeah, he's a competitor. He wants to win. He wants to go hard. And he's like, his prep time, was 2 years to come back from that injury, but he was scratching to get on the court, and being able to go with him, go hard, and, see him put it all back together. I'm excited for him to get back on the court too.
Quentin?
What's up, Jerome? How do you imagine, being on this team last year when you did join, and obviously this offseason they have added Russell Westbrook, how do you imagine this team being different this year with that dynamic of him and Bill, as well as your role in that?
Our pace is going to be unbelievable with him and Ish. Points we should be able to score between him and Brad and the rest of our scorers and shooters that we have. I think we have a great opportunity to be a great offensive team, but also a great defensive team that will lead to easy offense for us.
And also, has your dad ever forgiven you for doing that edge spear into the pool this summer?
He forgave me. He forgave me. The water was cold, but that was a good time.
All right. Appreciate you.
Neil?
Hey, Jerome. Hope you're doing well. I'm curious for you. You take defense very seriously. That's a big part of the game that you hold close to yourself. How do you, in today's NBA, is there a specific mindset that you have to play good defense, or is it just all just intangibles and physicality, or is it a mix of everything?
I definitely think it's a good mix. One, as a grown man in our leagues, you definitely have to be physically strong. But there's also great thinkers in our league, so you need to be thinking on the defensive end, what they're doing to score, how they want to operate, who their scorers are, who their shooters are, who wants to put the ball on the floor, things of that nature. And that's part of, knowing where you need to be on the court and taking advantage of those opportunities and having IQ on the defense end.
Thanks, Jerome.
Daryl?
Hey, Jerome, is there any concerns about possible lack of chemistry if there are games that may be postponed or canceled due to any concerns with COVID-19?
Lack of chemistry as far as people sitting out is what you're saying on our team?
As far as people sitting out or not having a lot of play time between games due to possible cancellations or movements of games due to what's going on with the virus?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be that. Could be that little slight hiccup, at times. But as far as our team, I think we have a lot of great IQ players and a lot of guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. So, the offenses that we run, a lot of guys can be interchangeable, So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for guys, Unfortunately, if a situation happens when a guy has to sit out, they can just plug in, next man up. That's how we're going to have to kind of take this if that happens.
Any other questions for Jerome? All right, cool. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jerome.
Appreciate you guys.